Oh, Leslie is looking for a second date update with a guy named Ryan. Hey, Leslie.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing good. You want to tell us about Ryan, how it all happened, how you met, first date, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, of course. So we met through like one of those work Zoom calls.
Oh.
And my company was working on a project with his company, and that has since finished. That's over now, but I feel like we kind of hit it off in the meeting, and after the project was done, he emailed me and asked if I wanted to meet for drinks.
Ooh.
I know.
Nice.
And I thought he was pretty handsome, and charming, but I never would have guessed he was interested in me, so I was totally surprised by the email and totally excited, So we met for happy hour, and I thought everything was going really well. I sort of feel like I had a feel for his personality, and I was super comfortable with him. Like I know I can be kind of like a nervous introvert at times, but I wasn't with him at all.
That's good.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't anxious. It felt good. We had a ton to talk about, a lot in common, and so happy hour turned into dinner, and it ended up being a 4-hour-long date, which I thought was a pretty big deal,
That's great.
And, yeah, I mean, if he wasn't interested, he would have bailed so much sooner, right?
Whew. Sorry. Yes, totally.
You okay
totally
over
would have
there?
bailed. Yes.
So the date ended with him taking me back to my car, and he hugged me, but that was it. Like, I told him I had a really great time, and he said he did too, and that was that. I've, texted him a few times, but I haven't heard back or anything. I'm sort of bummed,
Well, I love that it turned into what it turned into. It starts off as, hey, let's meet up for drinks and see what happened, and then...
Oh, yeah.
It just kind of evolves into a 4-hour date. And sometimes the most awkward part is the end where you're like, okay, well, it was great seeing you. I don't know what I want to put out there at this point.
Yeah. High five.
I know, right? I mean, you would have thought so, but it sort of wasn't. I mean, the only time it was weird was when he hugged me, I don't know, not that that's not a nice way to end it, but I mean, literally, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty great date.
But everything else was good.
Yeah.
How long did you say it was since then?
The date?
Yeah.
It ended up being like 4 hours long.
No, I meant how long ago was it?
Like a few weeks ago. Not more than like 2.5.
Oh, so you sat on this for a bit.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be, desperate.
You were hoping he'd show up in a week or two and just be like, oh my gosh, I've been so busy, but listen, I had such a wonderful time. Let's do that again.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the three day thing, and so I didn't want to, but yeah, I'm sort of, like I said, I mean, I'm bummed out.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we take a break here, and when we come back, we'll call Ryan, let's just hear him out, see what he has to say, get a feel for what he's thinking, and maybe we can put you two back together.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Hang on. Second date update continues. Ryan and Leslie next. Jeff and Jen, Cincinnati's Q102. All right, you going to happy hour date with the guy that turns into dinner? That was a good happy hour date, right? Because as Leslie pointed out, if Ryan was in a big hurry to leave, he could have bailed a lot sooner, but he didn't. Ryan and Leslie met on a work Zoom call, and after their companies completed the project they partnered on, he reached out, invited her out. That was, 2.5 weeks ago, and she hasn't heard from Ryan since, and she's surprised by that because they had a great time. They seem to have a lot in common. Lovely conversation and all that. And Leslie, I don't know if you've thought of anything else that you want to add to the story since we last spoke before we make the call. Now's the time.
I really don't. I mean, I've been sitting here thinking, like I said, the only thing I can think of is an awkward end to the date, when there was just a hug. But even that, I feel like, I don't know. I honestly, good. I can't think of a thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's call him up. Let's see what he says.
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, can we speak to Ryan, please?
Yeah, this is Ryan.
Ryan, it's Jeff and Jenn at Q102. How are you this morning?
Here we go again.
Here we go again? Wait a minute.
Yeah, this is not the first time you called me.
Oh, this is not the first time we've called you.
No,
We called you for someone else?
yeah, last time I hung up on you.
Oh,
Why'd you hang up on us?
Well, because the woman that I had gone out with, she was, let's just say, certifiable.
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So I thought it was just best not to pursue that any further.
right.
Yeah.
But I notice you haven't hung up on us yet. Are you just waiting to do that? Are you teasing us, or are you like legit willing to have a conversation with us about the person in question? Do you know who we're calling about, by the way?
Yeah, I got a feeling. I mean, I haven't been on many dates because, like, the world.
Totally.
But yeah.
Well, we're calling about Leslie, as I think
Yeah.
you know. And a big compliment she paid you is that she tends to be a nervous introvert. And she didn't feel that way around you. So, I don't know. That sounds like high praise coming
Yeah.
from someone who suffers a little social anxiety. But anyway, what was your takeaway from the date? Did you have as much fun as she did?
I mean, yeah, she was cool. We had overall kind of a good time. There were a couple things that I was like, nah, I don't know.
Like what?
Well, okay, I don't want to get like all whatever, but like she just kind of leans like way left, like way left.
Politically left?
Yeah, politically, yeah. She was like very, like just kind of like just very super passionate liberal, which is fine. Everybody like, I know these are like super divisive times, but like we're people, we got to connect, whatever. But like, I don't know. She was a little bit more than I was comfortable with. Like I lean a little bit more conservative, and I can understand the left. Like I don't wish anybody any harm. Like like whatever. Like I don't think like Biden's a monster or Kamala's a monster or like whatever. But I don't know. She just was a little bit more left than I was comfortable with.
So your issue is not that she leans left necessarily, just you felt her views were too extremely different from yours?
Yeah, I mean, like you got to look at everything sort of just like with an open mind. But with her, she like I don't know, she sort of had like I don't know, like a violent side to her. Like,
Whoa.
How? What do you mean?
yeah, okay, so like she went into this whole like diatribe about like her fantasy of wanting to like scalp and castrate Donald Trump.
Oh.
Like,
Scalp
again,
and
like, you got
castrate.
anger. Yeah,
Get him on
right?
both
and
ends.
Like, yeah, and I get it. Like you got some anger. Like that's fine. Like again, it's crazy times right now. But like I don't know. Like that just like it was like too much anger. And like I don't know. That was a weird thing to do. Like on a first date.
So your
like,
issue
castration.
isn't that she differs from you philosophically. It was just to you it felt
Maybe a little too intense.
extreme.
Yeah, on my first date, I'm not wanting to talk castration.
That topic in general does kind of make men squirm in their chairs a little bit.
That's like second date material.
You save that till later.
All right. Well, Ryan, as you know, we have Leslie on the other line, and she's been very patiently and quietly listening in the background. Leslie,
Hi.
how do you respond to what Ryan has to say about your passionate political views?
I was under the impression that you felt the same way. Like, that's why I kept going.
You thought that
honest
Ryan
with me,
felt the same way as you?
Yeah.
What led you to believe that?
Well, I mean, he didn't say anything to the contrary.
Well, I
You
can
know,
tell you
like-
as the guy in my friend group that doesn't see the same as most of the other folks in the circle, sometimes you just don't want to fight and you just sit there quietly and not participate in that conversation because you don't want to get into it.
Yeah, I've done that
I know,
before
but
too.
had he been honest with me, like, I would have dialed it back. Like, why did you lead me to believe that we were on the same wavelength? I mean,
That is the problem with silence because so many people take silence as agreement.
yeah.
And it isn't necessarily.
Well,
No.
the reason I'm quiet during those conversations is previously I've spoken my view of it and it wasn't taken
And you were
greatly. And then there were people that pissed and got up and left. And I'm like, this shouldn't happen. We're friends.
We should be able to have open, honest conversation and disagree about things and still get along.
Ryan, do you think that you and Leslie would have gotten on if she didn't seem as extreme in her views? Or do you think, I don't know, Leslie, do you think that Ryan's characterization of you is fair?
I mean, it depends the point of view you're looking at. Like, I think it's, I thought it was funnier than I guess he took it. And I certainly wouldn't have gone that far,
Had you known he
Had I
didn't
known.
share your...
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel the same. Like, I think you don't go super deep into politics, especially like on a first date. Like, you just don't know who the other person is or what their views are. And like, I don't know. At a certain point, it was like 0 to 100 pretty quickly. And so
I got it.
I've been through those situations enough to where I knew, like, there's just not, if you're talking about, violence on someone, whatever I say isn't going to get you back to a place of, like, common ground, So, like, that's why I didn't say anything, because, like, what's the point? It's not going to make a difference, really.
Okay, point taken.
All right. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you taking this call and not hanging up on us and having the conversation. And Leslie, I'm sorry it worked out the way that it did.
Me too. I'm really sorry, but thank you.
Now that you know that Ryan leans right, considering how passionate you are, do you think this relationship could have worked out had there not been this misunderstanding?
I mean, I definitely think there would have been a possibility. You know what I mean? Like,
so you would have been open to being in a
some
relationship with someone who differs philosophically from you.
Well, sure, because it's not what your entire relationship is based on. And, like, people exaggerate when they get into conversations. And, there was certainly some level of comedic sarcasm in our conversation, but, clearly he doesn't lean so far the other way that he immediately put a stop to the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, people, yeah.
So if he would have joked about castrating President Obama, you would have understood that comedic value.
Oh, but he's not as much of a douchebag.
You can't compare the two.
Okay,
not arguing that.
Really
on the flip side of that, I think
just
that
ridiculous.
Donald Trump could say, yeah, I know a little bit about being misunderstood based on my comedic sarcasm.
Well, and the other thing, too, is, like, had he been like, hey, this is where I stand, I would have been like, great, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually, I feel like it would have been talked about, though, and we might have been like exactly where we are now, but just a little further into the future.
And the ideal scenario is to be able to talk about it and still be cool.
And still talk.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but we didn't get that chance.
Well, I mean, I love having those conversations, too, but, like, she's talking about, like, plucking out his ball hairs, like, one at a time.
I mean, I was.
All right, so
I can see how that would be a little
I don't know what I'm
extreme.
going to learn from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't funny.
Little blonde ones.
Getting the tweezers down in
I don't
there.
think he has any
Exactly.
hair. Right.
Well, that's probably all he's got,
Orange ball hair. This is a horrible conversation.
That's
Alrighty.
Jenn
No,
with
it's
the
a good
J, Jenn at WKRQ.com. All right. Well, listen, best of luck to you both. And thank you both for coming on Second Date Update. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
sure. Thank you.
I'm glad we actually had
No
a conversation today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you need our help, Second Date Update, so simple. Send us an email, Jeff and Jen at WKRQ.com.
Thanks for listening to the Q102 Jeff and Jen Morning Show podcast, brought to you by CVG Airport. Fly healthy through CVG. For more information, go to CVG Airport /fly healthy.